With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball in a run the solar.
Patinongopinda tunhu chokutanga kukudzorerai pamakaziwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zheadmaster nenyaya yokuti anga ane udzamu nejikiniki.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on Sly Media TV.
So thank you very much for coming, all of you. We welcome you to the home of the Revolution, Zambia headquarters. I'm sure after a long while, all of us, the spokesperson, because we have taken the department, see work and activities to the people on the ground. We are all candidates, as you are aware. So, but I can promise you that we will constantly meet to update you on the road towards 23 August, like we've done today. So I'm not going to waste your time. The spokesperson is here, Comrade Mchangwa, to engage you. And also, just take note that soon we'll be saying Senator Mchangwa again. So you introduce a special guest that we have today, Comrade in Arms. Over to you, Comrade Mchangwa, to give us the work today.
Thank you, comrades of the press, friends, and pressmen. We are happy to be with you. It's been a long time. We officially launched the campaign. The president was in Chipinge on a historical occasion where he was launching the campaign of ZANU-PF. We want to salute our president for the decision to go to Matema in Chipinge. The president, as you will remember, went to the war at the crucible, right at the crucible of incubation of the armed struggle. He was one of the first people to volunteer to become a comrade when the army did not even exist. He has been lucky to survive all this long. And now, so many years in the struggle, in all its aspects, training, fighting, jail, went back to war the second time. We don't go back. We don't go to war twice from experience. I went there. You go to war once, you don't want to go back, but I went back in 1977, become the special advisor to the then president of ZANU-PF. But it started off in ZAP, our president. So he knows the two parties which are now the patriotic front. He has got a long memory. He's an institutional memory of the struggle. So from his perspective, he has been able to assess, in hindsight, the performance of the various comrades, including the top leadership of the party at various times. And he has done fair justice to the struggle, to the history of the struggle, by conferring national hero status to the founder of ZANU-PF, Comrade Navanik Chakadwana Siton. This is proper because there was a lot of emotions over the years about his status. Some saying yes, some saying no. But from his vantage point of institutional memory, he has decided to correct what was a historical anomaly and conferred him with hero status. We are very happy, and it was proper that we go to Mutema, to Chipinge, so that the people of Chipinge, who were at the forefront of some of the cadres of the armed struggle from the beginning, could be honored by the president to say, this is your man. He did his part for Zimbabwe. He was a pioneer, and his history cannot be wrapped. And we want to hail the president for that unifying aspect. He said no one will be left behind. So not only is he doing it for living people, not only is he doing it for those who died in the struggle, but he's also doing it for the leadership of the struggle. We are becoming an all-inclusive society. And we are belated. We are now in the midst of our campaign. We will be giving you press briefings regularly. This time, notwithstanding that both of us are candidates, we will make sure that we give you posted. We were going to primaries. They were bruising sometimes primaries. We had to fight. And when it is hot, you take off your jacket. When it is even hotter, you take off your shirt. When it is hottest, you take off even your jersey, your vest. So the campaign is something which is closer to me and him. We had to take care of business within the party. That's why we're absent. But now, the gloves are off against the main enemy. We think that we have to spend more time to keep you posted of events which are happening. So the absence will be corrected. And for my sins, I'm going to make sure that all of you get some lunch from me today. For my sins of absence. So after this, we have lunch as usual. The general elections, the campaign for ZANU-PF is going very well. The president started with Chipinge, which is the home of the Reverend Abaning Sitole, founded ZANU forces. He has since gone to Mad South, where there is a plethora of illustrious leaders of the armed struggle. I think per capita, more provinces contributed as much to the top leadership of the cadreship of ZANU-PF as did Mad South. The father of the armed struggle himself, the father of the liberation politics, Dr. Kabu Bonkomo is from Mad South. J.Z. Mono, the other founder of the Liberation Army, ZIPRA, his counterpart from the ZANU said was Chitepo. They are the ones who formed the first cadres, the first armed cadres of what is now the Zimbabwean Defense Forces. He came from Mad South. There are others who president. So it was befitting that we went to Bulilima. The rally was held over the weekend. I'm happy that this weekend, coming weekend, he goes again to the other province, which is home of one of our founding fathers of Zimbabwe, the first Prime Minister, and the first President of the Republic. He will be in Chinoy in March West. I'm the top politician of March West, the political member, and we are ready to welcome the President. We want to show to the President that we in March West were delighted, we're happy that for 38 years, the whole country supported a leader who came from March West, President Robert Mugabe. He's from March West. Now that the other province is providing leadership, we want to pay back the support which the other provinces gave to the First Republic by supporting President Mugabe for so long, in supporting the second President of the Republic, President Lithium. So Mashoda and West owes a debt of loyalty and gratitude to Zimbabwe. And we will be turning out, we are appealing to Mashoda and West to turn out in big numbers to say, if you Zimbabweans could support a leader from March West for so long, we in March West will support 100% the leadership of the party from another province, because we are one united country. So the big feast is in March West on Saturday. We hope all of you come, and we will see a resounding welcome of the President of the Republic, the chief campaigner, our front, the best foot forward candidate for ZANU-PF, President Lithium this weekend. and we'll be proceeding to other provinces after that. This is the smooth machinery of ZANU-PF. You see, even now the Politburo members have started also campaigning in their own right in support of the president in various provinces, so that as much as possible we reach out to the electorate. Ours is a united party. We are cadres of the revolution. People talk a lot about differences between our party, but they underestimate the cohesive aspect of ZANU-PF. Because we are seasoned cadres, we will go through thick and thin. We know each other. Don't tell me about this leader against that leader against this one. Because we know each other as young people. We know each other as we were fighting. You know, our messages are full of goodwill messages to each other, whether there's a death, whether there is somebody sick in the family. We know each other. This is in contrast to the other party, which is a collection of upstart young men from nowhere who need to start getting to each other, but they can't. They spend more time quarreling because all of them wake up with the name "I'm the president" on their chests, and they look into the mirror, "I'm the president." If he's not president, he starts quarreling with his rival from the same party. So we have Nelson Chamisa quarreling against Welshman Mube, quarreling against BT, quarreling against Monzora, quarreling. I mean, it's a hotbed of quarrels. The other part, it can never, because it lacks that organic aspect which ZANU-PF acquired in 6 decades in the trenches through different stages of the struggle. They don't have that. They are grafted together by Westerners. Now, there's something which is very interesting which has happened. By the way, the whole crop of billionaires have been coming to Zimbabwe of late for lithium. There are about 4 or 5 top billionaires in the lithium industry. And as I speak to you, the president is in Goromonzi. We are already exporting lithium concentrate for the batteries for these phones. These are the same. The phone, this battery, this phone is the same battery which runs the cars at BYD workshop on the way to the airport. You saw that workshop, that showroom on the eastern side of the highway. It has got cars which are called BYD. This is the new mode of mobility, displacing fossil fuels with batteries. And BYD's batteries are the same as the ones in your phone, only bigger. That's the same with Tesla, that's the same with all electric cars. They are made of lithium, they are made of nickel, and they are made of cobalt. See all those trucks coming from the DRC, low beds with flat cargo on the back, that's cobalt from the DRC. 60% of the world cobalt passes through Zimbabwe all the way to Mozambique to be made into batteries in China, in South Korea, in Japan. Now, Zimbabwe has got this bonanza of lithium, and it has attracted the top billionaires in the lithium industry of the world because of this importance of this metal in the making of batteries. And Zimbabwe has got Goromonzi now, it has got Bikita, it has got Sabi, that's Max Mind in Buera. For those who may not know, the more than 80 years of mining lithium in Kamativi, of mining tin. The other waste byproduct at that time which had no use is lithium. The tails, the tailings in Kamativi is lithium. So again, we are exploiting that. There is Zulu mine. We were reading about another billionaire from China who was in the latest billionaire to be coming to looking for this lithium is none other than Tesla's boss, Elon Musk. He has sent overtures to our president, and our president has sent a message to him. I know that, to say if he wants to come to Zimbabwe and do lithium, it's an open season. After all, he's a son of the region. He's originally South African, Elon Musk, that top billionaire now in the whole world. He wants to be part of but he has got wider interests too. He's Afrikaner, and we've had Afrikaner farmers in Zimbabwe because we are, he feels an affinity to them. He wants all the issues about the land reform in Zimbabwe, the settlement of the 3.5 billion. He's interested because he just wants peace and prosperity for the region. So we are having that other billionaire, and as I speak, one of the top businessmen from Britain who is a billionaire is actually in the country, Branson of Virgin Airways. He's savoring the tourist delights of Zimbabwe with the Zambezi Valley, Mana Pools, and all the other areas. So you can see what the president has done to make this country become a favorite visiting ground for billionaires. This is what president has done. These are movers and shakers. They make the world go around. Bill Gates usually used to have a holiday in Pamshana in the south of the country. Bill Gates, and maybe, it is because he set the precedent. So all these billionaires are coming to Zimbabwe. I am talking of a wholesome, virtuous cycle of goodwill, which the president now exercises among world-class businessmen about Zimbabwe. It's a good thing. Those who had thought that Zimbabwe would be made a pariah, no, it has changed completely. Zimbabwe is the favorite destination. We are hoping that maybe the retired Mr. George Soros, who used to fund a lot of the negative press about Zimbabwe, something called the Open Society Institute of Southern Africa, or CCC. Yeah, a lot of people are in payroll, brown envelopes coming from CCC. This opposition was supported by CCC, Anabiti, Anafarai Magu, all those people who are the favorite detractors, the favored detractors of the West. They used to revolve around George Soros. Before he retired, his son Alexander Soros is now the one who is in charge of the big foundation. I think 7 billion he had when he broke the back of England, and he raised a lot of money for himself as what is called a hedge fund manager. A hedge fund is somebody who raises capital and invests in risky projects for high returns in finance. That's what a hedge fund is. So he's called the king of the hedge funds, putting money all over projects in the world and failing governments sometimes, like he did, in certain countries, but also just making sure that some governments which he doesn't like ZANU-PF, are constantly being harried and harassed. That's what George Soros has always been up to. He retired in June, and his son has retrenched 40% of the global staff of the Open Society Foundation. Now there are about 7,000 NGOs in this country, and all of them were tipping in George Soros' Open Society Institute of Southern Africa. There are a lot of unemployed people who are our detractors. I'm giving you an open secret. So we expect, as this election goes, that there will be gnashing of teeth by an unfunded opposition, because their main benefactor has decided there's been a change of guard at the George Soros Open Society Institute of Southern Africa. There's been a change of guard at the top of the institution. It means less money for detractors. So if you see your brown envelope no longer coming, the source is dried up, the source of funds. 40% retrenchment by George Soros Foundation is not a joke. I'm repeating this because it is a bearing, because so much money was spent by George Soros trying to fight ZANU-PF. He saw himself as the image of CCC words. He said, I will take over this country as did in 1890, particularly after the year 2000. It has come to naught. It has come to naught. So We are very happy that other billionaires of different mind, like Branson in Zimbabwe, we can see opportunities which the president has created, and we see we want more money because we want Zimbabwe to become a prosperous country which produces world-class goods made in Zimbabwe for the global market. This is the wholesome effect, the virtuous effect of the policies of our president in 5 years. He has dramatically changed the whole business and geopolitical landscape of Zimbabwe. He's welcomed by his leaders in the region. You see, in many places, he is being invited to help to try to quieten or shut the guns in Africa. He's been to Angola for the Great Lakes. He's been made to put some hand in the Sudan conflict. His knowledge about conflict resolution is everywhere. By the way, I think it is Father Mario Zupo in Mozambique. He was there the other day when finally Renamo was saying that they have surrendered their arms. He was there. You remember him, he spent 9 months in Rome negotiating the peace deal between Renamo and Frelimo back in the 1990s. And Father Mario Zupo, who was his colleague in those peace talks in Rome at the Vatican, is also the Pope's envoy now to try to resolve the conflict in Ukraine. So this is the level of exposure which our president has, whether it be national, whether it be regional, whether it be local. Why am I saying this? I want you to give a contrast. We have a young man who knows nothing. All he can say, God is in it. God is in it. That's his slogan. When he looks at any challenge, he turns to prayer and says, God is in it. Well, that's okay. He turns to prayer. I also, believe in the supernatural. But the supernatural is, one never knows when it actually answers to your prayers. But the president, he does practical things out of a historical mission and out of institutional memory built over the years. This is the candidate which ZANU-PF is offering. This is the other candidate which the opposition is offering. We are trying to find him on the campaign trailer. We can't, CCC. I don't know, they say they campaign at night. I mean, it's still Shasha Pungwe, guys. So, when we were in the war, Pungwe was the mainstay. It was whites and aeroplanes and binoculars and helicopters, and during the day they were blind at night. So the war veterans, the communists, the guerrillas operated at night. We are masters of campaigning at night. If ever it was true that they were campaigning at night, we would have joined them and beaten them in that game. But we don't want to disrupt people's sleep. This is peacetime. We campaign in a peaceful manner. So we are not seeing the CCC candidates, campaign on the ground. That is why the detractors have resorted to creating a phantom candidate, because they feel that there is a yawning gap in the ranks of the opposition. And you know who the phantom candidate is? None other Xavier Kasubwe. He is being touted as a candidate. We are saying, until you put your feet on the ground and start campaigning in Zimbabwe, we don't view you as a candidate. Trying to have press conference to appear to campaign on the South African press. You are not appealing to the voter in Zimbabwe. There is no voting booth at SABC in South Africa. Because our voter is polling station based. If you are not at a polling station in your area, you can't vote. That's why the diaspora cannot vote unless they come back home and go to their respective registration centers. But Kasubwere goes to the SABC and to Econet station, not Econet, multi-choice station. He starts campaigning there to create a diversion, not so much for the voters in Zimbabwe, but to impress the funders outside, like the Open Society Institute of Southern Africa. You see your image in the mirror at SABC. But you are not being present on the ground in Zimbabwe. You are absent. Then you hit your chest, I'm campaigning because SABC has given you mileage. No, that's not where the voting booth is. Our president is stamping the grounds in Zimbabwe. That's why I gave you the instances where he has been physically on the ground meeting the electorate. And you saw the crowds which are turning up to ZANU-PF. I don't know how many crowds you can show. You can turn up at an SABC newsroom. Anyway, we have sent our teams. Our Minister of Information was there, and she has exorcised the ghost of Analu Mumba and all these people who pretend to be spokespersons of a candidate who is non-existent on the ground. So we won't comment much about Kasukwere as a candidate until he puts his feet on the ground in Zimbabwe. And of course, the law of the land for the many things which he has done, which he knows he has done, we will not be watching by. They will look at his record of the many things, infractions which he has done. By the way, it was none other than an American ambassador called Bruce Walton in 2007, who labeled Kasukwere a thug. Remember the story of Gift Tandai? Young man, Gift Tandai. Yeah, young man who was shot. And then his body was stolen and sticked out and buried out in Mount Dawi without the consent of his parents. Remember when there was that altercation between MTC and Zambia in 2000, and the young man got shot. Kasukwere's footprint seems to have been there, and I'm talking on the evidence of the American embassy, which went public, when the American ambassador said Kasukwere is a thug. This is Ambassador Bruce Walton. I'm sure the Zimbabwean intelligence services must have good record of all those things. This is among the many things which the law enforcement and peace enabling agents of this country may have on him. So before he even thinks of many other things, he's got a lot of hurdles to clear with the laws of this country, the criminal law of this country, and the law enforcement agents of this country. So please don't waste your time on a phantom candidate. Don't ask our questions about him. He is not a candidate on the ground. We can't build up an image of somebody for the sake of it. We would rather concentrate on somebody who is a candidate, who is President Lithium Nangagwa. So Chamisa is not appearing. He's on the ground, he's in the country, but he's nowhere to be seen. There are too many fights which he has got to smother within his own party. The fight against ET, the fight against the candidates was his selection of candidates was not open, was not democratic. There are a lot of disgruntled people. Even his own election agents supporting other agents in double candidates. So he has got to sort that out. He's busy with the courts, trying to sort himself out in his party. At the same time, he wants to be busy with the electorate. And where is your vote? Is it with the judges or is it with the electorate? So anyway, he's too busy. He's got too many irons in the fire. So that leaves the only candidate and the only united party, ZANU-PF, which is campaigning. And we take the job of campaigning very, very seriously. We fought for this democracy. I lost my teenagehood fighting for this democracy. I will not accept a message from George Soros of the West about democracy, because I know how to fight for it. And the most painful, and my memory is etched with many young people who never made it back home for the fight of democracy. No lessons from the West. We don't accept it, and our president is saying it time and over again. We are a homegrown democracy. We will faithfully conduct elections because it is what Zimbabwe people want. We are the first liberation movement to go into a democratic election, to be baptized for our military victories by the support of the people in 1980. We had to have an X to be baptized, not just a military victory. We didn't go from bullet to office, went from ballot to office. So we are proud of our democratic traditions as ZANU-PF, and we are showing the credentials. We are happy that the EU has come to the party. They are not trying to give lectures. You heard the statement of Ambassador of the EU the other day. He says, yes, we had recommendations, but we have no strictures for the Zimbabwe government. They are respecting our sovereignty. Here's our president's success again, engagement, re-engagement, where those who at one time were askance about Zimbabwe, they are now willing to give us a chance. And I remind, in February, I had a visit from the American embassy, and they said they will be neutral in this election. Whoever wins, they will support. So we have no reason to try to spoil a good party. We will not have a fly in the ointment of a good election because of violence or anything else. Because the story is moving in our direction in a good manner. Kana zvinakirawo place. What interest would we have in violence? Because all the people who used to not like us, they are liking us. We are the good boys now. You know, we are glorying in being seen as the good boys. So we will be happy to continue to conduct ourselves in a manner which shows that we are the good boys and the good girls of this election. What am I saying? The president says no violence ever in this election because it besmirches ZANU-PF. It's not in our interest. When somebody whom you used to move around with decides to say, I'm now neutral, you realize, cha-cha, because the one whom you were hating now says, neutral. It's like, neutral outside. Because the movement from being against me to being neutral is a positive direction in my favor. So, by the Americans saying they are neutral from being adversarial, it means they are pro-ZANU-PF in a manner which they were not before. It means they are critical of the other side. That's why they are distancing themselves by saying we are neutral. It's a condemnation of the CCC because they are being found to be useless as a party. And I'm sure some of the challenges which they are facing now because of the loss of money from Open Society Institute of Southern Africa, the loss of support from the American National Democratic Endowment for Democracy, is telling because they don't have the capacity to pay for their even candidates. I was registering in Chinoi. We had to wait until midnight to waiting for a CCC candidates to finally be said they've got money. They were inside but without money. I'm not even sure whether it's legal. I'm not sure. You know, if it was to be a candidate, you must have your form and your money. Ukaenda ku city council kana kuenda ku airport uine form usina mari uchida kutenga ticket. Are you a passenger? If you are going to buy a ticket, what did a booking? As I don't have money, would you be a passenger? Would you take a plane? I'm not very sure whether because they were to wait until 12. And in instances in Bulawayo, were to go the next day, they were given concessions by ZEC, which is keen to show that they are inclusive and facilitating. That's what ZEC wants to show. But I'm not sure whether it's very legal. There will be a lot of candidates from ZANU-PF who may want to question that. And I think the judges, the electoral court may have something to address on that issue. Because you can't be inside with a form but without money. It's say you're a candidate. So there's shortage of funds, even to support candidates to register. And I saw it with my own, because George Soros is no longer paying, and because the Western countries have decided to become neutral. So if you are neutral, maybe you are not paying any money anymore. Because neutral means somebody may not offer a check. And you know the result now? They are on a fundraising campaign which is almost extortionate. listen to the complaints of the small business people in the urban areas. The CCC is asking US dollars everywhere, this and that. They are terrorizing the SME sector in order to try to raise money for the elections, because they are using the fact that they own the urban administrations. So they now want the urban people whom they get rates from, which they used to pay themselves. They don't repay with services. Garbage is everywhere, sewage is everywhere, dysentery, cholera. You know what dysentery and cholera means? It means you are drinking sewage, less water. And it's happening in urban areas. In Chebutu, we have to create it in also all urban areas. That's where most of the cholera is. So sewage, less water in urban areas means dysentery and cholera. Who is in charge of those urban areas? 22 years of incompetence, of corruption. The harvest is cholera and dysentery and other waterborne diseases. Now you are going to campaign to those people to say, vote for me. When there's a comparison of what ZANU-PF is doing in rural areas, there's prosperity. Did you see what happened at the tobacco auction floors? $800 million paid out to tobacco farmers. 180,000 registered families in rural areas. My US dollar matter, this is going to ZANU-PF. Where's my piece? $100 note. I don't know $100 note. We have $100 notes. All of them, they are new. Yeah, show me one. All of them are new. They may be old, $10 notes and $1 notes. But you bring my best. I show you. Do you know the story of the new $100 notes which are coming to Zimbabwe? I know it's they are new. All of them. In fact, I'm afraid when I'm touching them, I get bent. Actually, they are new. You know where these are printed? They are printed in New York. These are not printed by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. 80% of the transaction is coming. 80% of the transaction, you want money for the campaign. 80% of the transactions already in Zimbabwe, they are in US dollars, coming straight from New York. They are not a gift of the American Zimbabwe government to Zimbabwe, these notes. They are earned by Zimbabwe on the market. They are printed in New York. They come by plane to Dubai. The plane leaves Harare, goes to Dubai carrying gold. There is an exchange in Dubai. The plane comes back carrying new unpacked US dollar notes. Don't listen to those nincompoops who are saying the gold is smuggled. No, the only player who trades gold in Zimbabwe is the Reserve Bank. And they do it legally. But my accounts go to Dubai. My accounts are to Zikan or my bank. I want a story, those are stupid stories. This true story is the central bank is the one which trades gold on behalf of Zimbabwe. That's why that story about Al Jazeera and gold mafia came to naught. Because the Reserve Bank is the trader, not those guys. No. So, but the detractors have hedged onto that story, thinking that if something against ZANU-PF for the election campaign. It came to naught because everybody who is in the gold trade is getting paid. If there was looting, somebody would not go and dig gold anymore. So these notes are coming from New York, arrive in Dubai. We sell gold, they come to Zimbabwe. Gold is money for 5,000 years of history. It's the oldest money the world has ever known consistently. It is money. And America is only 300 years old. People were trading for 5,000 years. America is at They were not using this currency. I'm scoffing at those people who are saying we can't have a national currency because we need US dollars. It's nonsense. Great Zimbabwe was built by gold before America was born. Kami in Bulawayo was built by gold. Danamombe was built by gold before America was born. So these false economies are not they are political commissars of neoliberals. They are not economists. We are producing gold. We found 3 million are producing gold. That's why the president was in ED minus for ED. And Papa was not the Jimbo as my GT GT6 whatever. You know, you are here, my nobody's and it was Munabi was 20,000 Kuruzeva. Couldn't buy, couldn't go. So we are earning gold from nothing in 2016. The president, in mind, the way I told you the other day, he was the champion of supporting the war veterans to legitimize young people as gold, legitimate gold miners. Before 2016. Gondo Arishai, yaenda kumamisha kumakomitandaniza vanadiki vaichera gold. After 2016, I went into cabinet. He supported the resolution. We jumped from less than 3 tons. Young people are at 25 tons of gold. This is good money. Irikuenda kuna wafana warikuchera enzonzi ZANU-PF aina kucreate mabasa. Tina wafana 3 million warikuisa gold itsama US notsa muri kuona ari kuti wane ari kutorwa ari kuendwa nevafana warikuchera gold. Zonzi hakuna basa. Hong Kong is looking for this gold. Dubai is looking for this gold. Shanghai, Mumbai, they are all looking for this gold. Vanza havana basa munhu ari kutambira US dollar richisupporta musi watunya richisupporta pre-governor ku-Central Bank. This is what the president has done to support our currency with gold. Countries trade to any hard currency. Don't take us to any hard currency. These gadgets, sell them in any hard currency. Zimbabwe, we trade. We sell tobacco, we sell lithium, we sell this to any hard currency. But tine chimwe chidobi chisina dzimwe nyika. Vafana vanochera mari pasi all over the country. We dig money. He owns gold in Zimbabwe. That's why we are going to be strong. We don't need America's money. Because before America came, we had money already called gold. And in Zimbabwe, gold is everywhere. And the Second Republic, Mnangagwa, has made gold digging one of his focal economic planks from 2016, when it was the First Republic, but fortified it after 2018 by making sure that the price of gold in Dubai is the same in Zimbabwe. No more smuggling of gold. Yes, you are going to Central Bank. That's why our currency is getting strong. That's why he said the Minister of Finance now says pay in Zimbabwe dollars. Because we got enough US dollars in the market for you to earn the US Zimbabwe dollars and go and pay my taxes. To go and pay this. Saka MTC yanga yajara kubira vanhu kuma triple C vachibira vanhu kuma town vachiwapesa US dollar. Chachaya ngavaenda vanotsvaga Zimbabwe dollar. Tidzosere mari yedu. These are creating the hardships for the true opposition, but they are creating a boon for the Zimbabwean consumer. We are restoring our currency. These are the achievements of the Second Republic, supporting our currency. And China, they are trying to do the petrol you want in Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is no longer happy with America, because America is a net exporter of fossil fuels. So Saudi Arabia used to support the US dollar since 1971, when Nixon signed an agreement with Saudi Arabia, hence the petrodollar agreement, that the most traded commodity in the world, which is fuel, is traded in US dollars, not in pounds or not in gold. That's why America and Saudi Arabia were friends. But now America exports as a fuel and competes with Saudi Arabia. That's why the pipeline is bombed in the north, in Kutivasa oil in Russia. So Saudi Arabia is no longer happy with America because we are competitive in the same commodity. We would rather deal with India. What does it mean? Why am I saying this? It means the US dollar is no longer as popular as it used to be, because the major importers of fuel are China and India, and they don't want to use the US dollar. They want to use the petrol rupee, Indian money, or the petrol yuan, Chinese money. So I'm debunking those who are saying that we must continue to use the US dollar in our economy. Madofo, they don't know basic finance 101. We dig money, gold in this country, and the president and the central bank and the Minister of Finance are right to say, let's use the Zimbabwe dollar because it is supported by the gold, not US dollar. These are the successes which make the population go and vote for the ZANU-PF. We are rescuing our dollar, it's getting stronger and stronger every time on the market. This is a big success. Vanga vajaira to go to the elections each time vatenda elections they look at the Zimbabwe dollar. So the opposition in this country was the currency manipulated by the likes of George Soros against ZANU-PF. When the Runo Chachai, we were vigilant. Our US dollar, our Zimbabwe dollar is actually going to continue to strengthen as we go to the elections. And we will restore it forever as the currency of circulation for Zimbabwe. Because it is supported by gold digging by young people. We want to jump from 35 tons to 60 tons, to 100,000, to 100 tons. And you know where the price of gold is going? Maybe to $3,000 US per ounce. I was in Hong Kong 3 weeks ago. The Hong Kong Gold Exchange wants Zimbabwe gold. I was in Shanghai. The Shanghai Gold Exchange wants Zimbabwe gold. There is a gold conference which is going to be held in China in September, Gold Association, the Whole World Gold Association Conference. It has never been held in China before. It used to be held only in Canada, in Australia, in UK, in America, in South Africa, and maybe Russia, I don't know. The first time it is going to be held in China, outside of those countries, because China is now is #1 gold producer and the #1 gold trader. There will be an army of young people from Zimbabwe going to China. Kunodai viral to gold. Ipapo pamamonya ipapo. Them Zimbabwe vanenge varipo because they are producing gold, the natural money of the world. This is the beauty of the cleverness of President Mnangagwa's monetary policies. And they've done a big fatal blow to those who have always tried to use the Zimbabwe currency as a weapon during elections. This time it won't work because the president has been vigilant and has been preparing methodically since 2016 for this day, for this eventuality. Hakuna zvokuti anochandisa vachakambeni vachiti vanhu inflation yapedza vanhu because we are correcting by producing more gold. These are things which I want you to highlight to the people, to the world, to understand that Zimbabwe is on a winning streak and nothing is going to stop us. That's why the West are saying, if you can beat Zimbabwe, join them. That's why we are getting all sorts of goodwill messages from the West. Tawin, Zimbabwe, we have defied sanctions, we have won. And this election will be an endorsement, a ringing endorsement of a heroic people who have withstood the forces of Goliath for the past 2 decades. And the forces of David have won. And they are going to be endorsing ZANU-PF in the elections to come. We are also happy because I told you we are a structured party, very structured and organized. You don't win a war against the Rhodesians supported by the Americans and the British and the EU, and the NATO, unless you get organized. So our systems as a party are organized. The other parties disorganized. We are already celebrating winning the elections before people have gone to vote. So many uncontested candidates, particularly at local council level, 74. And I think even some more at even the National Assembly. We have one already. Before ZEC has opened the ballot, we are already one. This is a pointer to the landslide which is coming. Why? Because the other party has no support. Why? Because the other party is disorganized. Because they have no history of organization. Why? Because their funders, the Americans and the British, have abandoned them. Why? Because George Soros, who used to be their underwriter, is now decided to throw in the towel, and his son Alexander is not interested in funding any more of this nonsense which his father was doing, wasting money on people who are pretending to win elections when they are lining up their pockets. Ask them. All these years of being funded, China, hakuna factory matswa, garbage yakazara everywhere, mapotholes akazara everywhere, vanhu vari kunwa mvura ine sewage vachiita decent. Imi muchitonga muchiti muri kupiwa mari. Can you account for that money with a population? So when the vice president went to Mbari the other day, the turnout of young people was huge. This is an electorate which young guys in a triple C. That's why Chamisa was making sure that his favorite candidates are in urban areas. And those he doesn't want, he was pushing them out to rural areas where they will lose. Now Chachaya gonna come down, what with refugee. They are going to lose because people in the urban areas have opened their eyes to say, for 22 years these were incompetent rulers. Wokuti kana muda kunovhota munoti tiri kurwisa ZANU-PF. Kana maakutonga matadza kutonga moti tiri kutadzikwa neZANU-PF. Komadii muchingogara kumba musavhotera. If you are going to be impotent councillors, if you are going to be eunuch councillors, because ZANU-PF is going to make you fail to run cities, just as well don't go and be voted, because you are lying to the candidates that you are going to service them when you know that ZANU-PF is going to make you fail. Kunyeba, the hypocrisy has been exposed. So we are going to have a harvest of urban votes this time. And the president had title deeds where he's going to empower rural and urban people in a major scale. It has never happened. That one Homa town vakuenda kubank kunoita securitize dzimba dzavakazvivakira vachipiwa mari nemabank. We have a big mortgage industry coming out of houses which were built by developers which had no title. Now they have title, and people can go to the bank and say, I pledge my house and I get a loan. Muchaona marenovations achaitwa dzimba dzakudhara. Muchaona vanhu vachivaka dzimba itsva. Macarpenters achaita basa ramusati mamboona mumataundi muno vachirenovata dzimba, because there is a new liquidity by the financial inclusivity yaitwa nechirikuitwa nematitle deeds. Zvidoko zvirikuitwa naMunangagwa kuti upenyu hwevanhu hunakidze. Said wana unchamisa zero, kunongone God is in it. God is in it. Maheri say God is in it. God helps those who help themselves. That's what the Bible says. Now, just the reason why I'm having my own mate, I don't know about much West, but that's not the reason why he's here. I mentioned it anyhow. This they went out. But there are so many coming back. He is one of the biggest campaigners now for the party. In the party which will win my election. He knows Kasukwe very well. But you looked at that young man and saw that there's nothing in that young man. All you can say is the comments one and I'm Gabi and the Fambana Grace. That's his card. Tom Vunza Buti. She knows what would have Mugabe. Fura Bona. What would have Mugabe? Fura Robert Jr. What would have Mugabe? Fura the young man. Chatunga. Iweka Sukwere. Baba Wagondi Josiah. I know his father, his father was a security officer of IMT's Native Commissioner and Stavros. Stavros was the king of Mount Awi, like the Nichols were the king of Chinoi. Remember the Nichols were Native Commissioner Maswaya. Baba Waka Sukwere sends the Ramurunga and Stavros or the security office. Didn't want to get a Mount Awi. Sakandozia ndotozia kuti baba wake vanonzi Josiah, security officer waStaffords. He does not want to be associated with ndiri mwana waJosiah. He wants to say kuti ndiri waRobert Mugabe. That way. Imbosiwo Bona naTino na Robert. Vaboti ndisi vana ingale baba amai vacho. These are the proper inheritors of the Mugabe mantle. Not Kasukwe. In each year, I was with Mugabe for 75, but I got a demonstration by university. That's when I went to Highfield. He went in March, I went in July. I received Mugabe Pashunda from Mozambique, and I organized him to pitch calf. I just found some Tatanga from Mozambique, I kind of such a Sunguka. isitakazoenda yasununguka takatambirwa neFrelimo yanga asina kutambirwa. He was emaciated nenzara. Isusu wanga wabva kuIRI tikati aiwa mutambire pakembi yepashuri. I've worked with Mugabe. I've been his ambassador. I've been his minister. So before the war and after the war, I don't go about shit in Mugabe. Didn't work on Mugabe. I've got better claims to be associated with Mugabe. I'm Nangago. Upenyu wao wesina Mugabe. Nemjeri. He doesn't go about our shit in Mugabe. Kasukwere. Didn't work on Mugabe. Ndeki reminded him the other day aenda kuKwaZulu Natal. Kwarongo inonzi Mugabe Memorial. Kautsikwere skwa sutuni babaura kuti I'm here with you. So I'm back you. Ndakauya kuZimbabwe in 1980. Wandakadzitaura naye naMugabe ndimunangano. Ndiye akati deployera makedhas emumukondo weSizwe kuti tirwise varungu. Munangagwa kwete iwe. But ada kufamba achiti hanzi ndiri waMugabe. Manje makazoona vane vana vaMugabe kundokukurira mangu. So we have he's here. You give a few words. He's been to the president and is busy campaigning for ZANU-PF. He is one of men that is Kasukwere, because they don't want a phantom candidate. He's got his feet on the ground campaigning for the party. Kasukwere ariko kwakeko. Tunamai mtango wakamingira kwaenda kuma broadcast house ekusamutandanisa. Hapana akala kumuona kuma broadcast eku South Africa. His campaign was supposed to be run from South Africa against, because they don't have an alternative figure. Ariku challenge President Chamisa has failed. So they were creating a phantom of Kasukwere as a candidate. So that's why I brought you, and I want to thank the president for extending his welcome hand to all the S2 candidates. He has done a fantastic job, and you know this is how it should be. We are one family. Here and there, but at the end of the day, people of goodwill, patriots who love their country, they find each other. He's not a patriot, Kasukwere. He's always there trying to. You know Maria Capera, George Soros. There was a white man. Now tell you, he wrote a book as one of the top soldiers of the Rhodesian army. His name is Graham Wilson. His wife actually worked for the president at transition. The president, remember, is the one who united all the armies. Graham Wilson comes to me. Because Kasukwere avereka bhuku rake. Zvikanzi tinoda kundobvisa Munangagwa. Iwo wanga uri musoja akabva kuBritain weSpecial Air Services. Tiri kudawo 12 million. Enda unotaura mabhuru ako ekuBritain kuti vanipe 12 million. I mean, the man is trying to get favors from the president because his wife used to work for the president, so that he can come back like all the white people that are coming back home. Kasukwere achiri kuvatsvaga using grudges of the war. Kuti no Graham Wilson anga mutsvagire 12 million. This is fact. That's the desperation yaKasukwere. Kasukwere unotsvaga mari from former Rhodesian soldiers kuti ndingawane kurwisa. And the Graham Wilson, so I'm one of the first people who joined from the CIO in 1980. So I worked with these people. So they tell me. So the president knows probably enough about what Kasukwere is doing more than what he knows about himself. Because when we have a match, we have support against us. When we have report, kuna president. We know he's transparent. And the South African government doesn't like him either. We are very happy with the statement from Minister Barula, Secretary General ANC, openly denouncing Chamisa. But you are a puppet, you are Chukuni. It happened last week. You saw it for yourself. They've always been trying to say ANC, no, CCC, Irambe ZANU-PF. Isitakafamba tese tiri mumakamba kuTanzania tichigura nyika neANC. Ndakutaurira President Mnangagwa achisangana naMbeki in 1980 kusapota umukondo weSizwe kuti irwise South Africa. Vachihostwa neZANU-PF. naMnangagwa. Chamisa Kasukwere. Antinoda kuti tinotora ANC kuita yedu. Zvingaite izvo. Isu tine history yese. Iwo hauna kana history nako. Wakutaura kuti ndiwo wakuda kunzi kudiwe nedu. Saka ANC yabva yaramba. And by the way, they had a belief yekuti vanhu vese vari mudiaspora vakavenga ZANU-PF. So they've been running a campaign yekuti kana ma-elections akuuya vatorere ma-permits vaende kumusha vagonovhota ane hasha against ZANU-PF. Now they discovered kuti vanhu vese vari mudiaspora vari kufarira ZANU-PF vari kuvakadzimba munomu because the president's economic policies are making everybody prosperous. Enda kumadokero ikwaisazeriwa vana vanhu vokudiaspora vari kuvese vakatiza in 1980, those who ran away whites in 1980, those who ran away in 1975, vazara vari kudzoka. I mean, islands. You know what's happening? Where there was one house for the white family, the children who are coming back, they destroyed the one house. They built 8 because mastend maombe akatorwa mazuva aya roads achatanga kuvagara. So islands kwese kuri kuvakwa kuma-detached houses 2 anosara achigara nemhuri yake nevana vake 6 out of 8 ziri kurendeswa ama-detached houses. That's why there's a massive construction going on in old stands from the colonial era population. They are coming back home. So if the white population is voting for the president, iwe kasweri uchinorwisa president, unorwisa winner, the white population is coming back. These are the good policies which ZANU-PF done. The return of our diaspora. The first one, the white one, in the 70s. The second one, the white one, in the 1980s. And the third one in 2000, the melted down one, after the land reform. They're all voting for home because the policies of the president are good. So there is a wholesome cake of goodies sprinkled inside the cake because of the policies of President in every aspect. My billionaire Wodzoka, Takvaka steel plants. You know, Manise is 90% complete. Manise is still 90% complete. Anytime we can start, we just need to connect the electricity. Electricity, world class, iron, steel. Zimbabwe, by the best company in the whole world, will be producing and selling not to the Zimbabwe market alone, to the global market. Railways will have to be built. Power is being built. New towns are being built. New water depletion to support a town of 40,000 people. In 4 or 5 years of his leader, can you imagine what he's going to do if he comes back in after 23 August? Even more goodies to make Zimbabwe an upper middle income society as he has promised in his vision. So this is the complete electoral picture which ZANU-PF is selling to the public, to the electorate. Come elections, it will be whitewash of the opposition. That's where they are being abandoned by those who used to support them. Akuchina achava support vanhu vakaona munhu ano zvinonzi opposition yanhuhwa vangonhuhwa chete vanhu vanokutiza. And isusu veZANU-PF tiri imbwa iri kuvhima ikangoruma ikambonanzva ropa mamhanyira inoita kuda kunopedzesa muka yeye. So we feel that we have smelled blood. The CCC is finished. And we are going to make sure that the electorate give them the fatal blow come elections 23 August 2020. Yes, and because it's an open election, the president says, observers. Remember I told you, Chatinakira, everybody is gunning for, everybody is voting for us. Everybody is bullish about the prospects of ZANU-PF. So we are opening the observer. Adakuyangawe as observer because those are just border violence. This I invite my observers as a government. We can't invite observers when we want to hide some things or when we want to be involved in unseemly things. This is an attestation of the open nature about the elections which we are campaigning, which we are running this year. It's an open field. So we welcome the EU, which has already funded its organ. It has even established a team, Ambassador Jobst van Kechman. He has already announced the leader of their team. Remember the problem we had last time was a Swedish guy, Shaw, something, Shaw, I don't know, some Peter. He's the one who started condoning our elections 2 decades ago, and we went into a bad relationship with the EU. This time the EU is on a different footing. They've already announced their candidate. We are happy with that. We welcome them. And just the other day they signed an agreement with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about the observers. This is the thing. We love our democracy. We fought for it. We don't want to hide. We don't want to hide the lamb under a bush, the lamb under a bucket. We are open. We put our light for elections, everybody to see. So, good thing many election observers can come from all over. SADC has said it is coming. The IU is already becoming our traditional friends, but even the EU is coming. We hope the Americans will follow suit soon. As they promised me in my office, they came to ZANU-PF office for the first time in February to see me, to pledge that they are neutral in these elections. We are hoping that they live up to their bidding, and the election observers will come and join those of the EU, and they will be part of the electoral bonanza of democracy, which Zimbabwe is going to show to the world. This is what the president has done in 5 years of office. We expect him to do more after election. So, by and large, I think I have spoken a lot. I am happy to another good thing. The president is delivering on the war veterans. That's something dear to me and to Germany. They've done so much. I was reminding me of what they did for the educational field in 1980. My parents, Mahara, my teacher, Kamarike government, pay my teacher. There were so many schools built by parents that there couldn't be enough teachers, even as we were training. We went back to Havana. We asked President Castro to start training teachers to catch up with parents building school. We trained 7,000 teachers in Havana after the war to catch up with parents building schools. That was done by the war veterans. That's why we are the most educated country on the African continent. Parents build schools for free to get a teacher as a reward from Harare. That's why we're educated. War veterans did that. The war veterans were behind the revival of the land reform and the revival of the tobacco sector. I was in China. I was central to the revival of the tobacco sector, and we got $800 million. The war veterans were the ones who were behind the resolution of gold banners, Makorokoza, IT legitimate. 2013 Congress Convention. 2016 they were legitimized in cabinet. I was in cabinet. On the short time and I can't go in cabinet. My needs was Mama Gazara Madoff. And I got support for the Mumbai on Guys from cabinet now. This is the history of the war veterans. And the president has always felt that he owes to them, particularly for their support in 2017, Operation Restore Legacy. Yesterday, a whole slew of permits were given to my war veterans and to my chiefs, opening the mining sector at grassroots level to our people. They've proved it. Ranuta Road Gold in which 2/3 of the gold, 35 tons coming from Manadi. No supporter central bank the currency here. So it works. The president's economic policy of empowerment work. It's proven. So now we've decided to want the war veterans. They've got a wall. Mineral rights have been given. Chiefs have been given mineral rights. We want them to participate in this bonanza of mineral riches, which is Zimbabwe, to be seen to be participating. So we want to thank the president for walking the walk. He talked about making the war veterans be part of the economy. I work very hard as the chairman of the war veterans to get them the partners who they deserve, so that they also can make money. And I scored some and the president, demonstrations, so this is what is happening. We want more, and they can work with their parents in the new projects to president to grow the economy. These are huge infrastructure projects. Just last week, Mozambique signed an agreement with the same company, Steel Plant of Malaysia. We are going to build a new port in Beira in the next 3 years or so, with a railway line straight from Beira, a new one, in a new port going to Malaysia to export iron ore and to export steel. These are things which happen, and the companies which are doing it, they are the best companies in the world. This particular one, woman, is a turnover 55 billion, 58 billion US dollars, 2 to 3 times bigger than the GDP of Zimbabwe. This is the quality of the leadership in business which the president is attracting. The best ones, because the resources in this country are good, but they've always been there. What was missing was good leadership to make sure that the resources are appreciated, the natural resources. And the President Mnangagwa, we have the best leader who can become an interface, a market of these good resources to competent, world-class businessmen who are coming into Zimbabwe to produce world-class goods and services made in Zimbabwe for the global market. Achada kutengesa kunze toda kutengesa kumusika ku Bolivia, toda kutengesa musika ku Havana, toda kutengesa musika ku Suriname. Zvinhu zvabva ku Zimbabwe. Omboendawo uchikwira ndege. Unoona chakanzi made in Zimbabwe kuma department store nema supermarket edzimwe nyika. This is what the president is doing. And along the way, he's making young people make money. He should be looking at a crop of billionaires from Zimbabwe in the next 5 years. That's what the president is doing. So when we go to the vote, that's what we are saying to the electorate. Prosperity and hope. Prosperity and hope. Prosperity and hope. That's what we are saying to the electorate. I want to thank you, and I will entertain questions. You can just say a few words about your experiences since you came back and you came back to the front of the party. You are one of the many. I just thought he should be replaced because he has always been very active.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Spokesperson. Senator tinofamba ndinokutenda chekutanga ndinokutenda president waMnangagwa nezvakatiitira nedare rawo repabhiro vice president zvichidzika kunhengo dzese dzepati kusvika munhu wese nekutitambira kwavakaita kuti tishande navo zvinhu zvinokudzwa chaizvo nesu comrades takanga tichishanda tese zvakanaka musangano weZANU-PF zvakaitika ngatarise mberi tishande pamwe chete kuti zvatinoda zvibudirire. Vamwe vanoziva tichinzi tisima G40 nezvakaitika 2017, asi chandinoda kutaura ndechekuti isusu nevamwe vangotwa tine vakawanda vamashure kwangu hatinei tanga tinei kuti tinotozviziva kuti leadership yaitochinja mukati. Kuuya kwakaita waMnangagwa hatina daka nako isusu, tinofanira kuti tizvisapoti semakomurezi, tishande pamwe chete nemamwe makomurezi edu. Masawiro edu nhamo dzedu dzakawanda dzirimo muZANU-PF, ndosaka maona takaita decision irori. Zvevari kude kumirawo vachikwikwidzwa sana Comrade Kasukwere naComrade Kasukwere takasangana muZANU-PF. Saka chakakosha kwatiri iZANU-PF, hatisi kuzoteere munhu. Titori nevakawanda, tichaita program yaticharonga spokesperson kuti titaure nevamwe kuti vasangane neutungamiri, musangane navo, mutaure navo, vangangonga vachifungirwa kunzi vangada kusapota zvakaswere, ivo vasiri kusapota izvozvo. Vapuwe basa rekuita musangano, vashandire musangano. Izvozvi tiri nguva yemaelection, vanhu vanoziva ndanga ndiri PC muno muHarare province. Izvozvi tichitobuda munhu, ibasa ratofanira kuti tindoita paground. Tagara tirikutozviita mwedzi yapfuura yese kukambenera musangano kuti vanhu vavhotere ZANU-PF. Harare province inofanira kunakidza kana kunakirwa nekuvapo kwangu inini semumwe comrade wavo tichishanda pamwe chete. Kune zvakawanda comrade spokesperson zviri kutaurwa nevanhu vagari vemuHarare kunyanya yepoor service. Kune nyaya yemalicense mukatarisa mutauni maita zvimashopu zvidiki license yacho iri kungofananidzwa izishopu zihombe mari yaro $600 neyekashopu kadiki. Zvinhu zvinonga zvinoda kuti zvigadziriswe zviite kuti vanhu vagari vemuHarare vanakirwe vakwanise kuite bhizinesi ravo zvakanaka. So ndezvimwe zvezvinhu zvinokuti musangano unofanira kuti utarise izvozvo wabatsire vanhu vavo. Saka isusu tiripo pakutsigira musangano wedu weZANU-PF pega pega paunenge wati tuma tinenge tichashanda nemusangano wedu weZANU-PF hatina kubatana nezviri kuitwa nevamwe vana Kasubwere. Isusu takazvimirira tirimo muZANU-PF tichashanda nemusangano ticharamba tiri pamwe chete mumusangano wedu. Ndosaka ndataura pakutanga kuti chakatisanganisa nemamwe makomrades aya iZANU-PF. So handingasiyi ZANU-PF kutero umwe aiwa isusu tiripo pakuramba tichishanda tiri pamwe chete. Endai munoudza president ndanda mashaya munhu mashandiro andaingoita kudhara kana kuti ataingoita kudhara iwayo tatova vanhu katatu kushandire party kuti zvinhu zvedu zviende mberi. We believe in leadership ya comrade Mnangagwa and the whole political and the structures as a party. So tinoda kushanda tiri pamwe chete kuitira kuti tisunungure nyika. Chandoda kuti ndibate futi inyaya yekuti zviri kuitwa navaMnangagwa ndizvo zvagara zvichichemerwa kana kuti zvanga zvichichemerwa nevanhu muZimbabwe, especially kutarisa nyaya ye-economic development, infrastructure development, freedom of association and assembly. Izvozvo zvinhu zvatinoda kuti zvinge zvichinyatso kutaurwa navanhu kuti izvi zvinhu tiri kuzviona zviri kuitika. Saka inyaya yakakosha yaticharamba tichiparidza kuti akomana izvi ndizvo zvinhu zviri kuchemerwa navanhu veZimbabwe, ndizvo zviri kuitwa. So what is the need or the reason yekuramba uchirwisa munhu ari kuita zvakanaka zvamunosvukira kuti zvinge zvichiitwa? President vari kuita basa rakakura. Ndakaona ndiri pambudzi apo munoziva ndokuconstitution kwangu zvinotangira zvinhu zvatiri kuona inyaya dzakanaka dzatinofanira kuti tinge tichitaura. Hatingawani zvese but tiri kuona kuti nzira iri kufamba napresident waMnangagwa inzira yakanaka yatinoda tese sevana vemusangano. Saka tinokutendai utungamiri hwepati. Aiwa tiripo, ngatishandei takasununguka anytime any hour kuti tishandire musangano wedu weZANU-PF ubudirire urambe uchiende mberi. Kurongeka chaiko kuri musangano ndokunogara kuchingotaurwa navanhu vakawanda ende ngakurambe kwakadaro. Tinozvitenda chaizvo.
He is speaking on behalf of Jabun, who is also come back. He is also speaking on behalf of Comrade Mashange, who is also come back. Yes. You know Comrade Mutau is a candidate. These are many who have come back. Yes. I also just want to put in matter of record. Comrade Dokora is not a returnee. He never left the party, but he was former minister. He's also actively working within the party. Just that he was not. These are returnees, but he is not a returnee. Sorry. So it's a whole class of people. Some are returnees. Some of them had gone quiet within the party, or some of them had failed cold within the party. But the atmosphere which is being created by President Mnangagwa is making them all feel wanted, and they are releasing a lot of energy. And energy, and energy, because once and for all, particularly my elections, this party which was set up, which has been abandoned by its sponsors, which is no longer enjoying the status of the detractors of ZANU-PF, we have since become admirers of our president. Anna Branson to visit us in tourism in Zimbabwe. These are heart eaters of the global tourism industry. It means the message, your president says is permeating every corner, at national, at regional, and at global. I want to thank you for all your patience. Listen to us. It was a long press conference. We wanted to update you. As I indicated, we'll be doing it more regularly because the election campaign is officially on. We will find time.
With 2023 beckoning and the election frenzy in the country becoming more stronger each day, politicians are increasingly becoming visible, making more and more promises.
Primary education from grade 1 to grade 7 must be provided completely free.
Every village, in 3 years, there will be a ball run on the solar.
Patinongopinda chinhu chekutanga kukudzorerai pamakasiyiwa navamugabe. Toda kudzorera maticha kwavaiva kwokuti ticha aizikanwa semunhu aitenga zikoti zheadmaster nenyaya yokuti anga ane udzamu negiginiki.
But are these promises going to be fulfilled? The electorate is pondering on who to vote for in the council, parliamentary, and even presidential election. We bring you the candidate, where we interrogate their plans, their manifestos, their programs, to make sure that we give you information to make a choice on who to vote for. The candidate on Sly Media TV.